Hello guys and welcome to another episode of Matsuribayashi. This time we are trying to see what the other squad's up to. We're putting up a pretty good distraction, or like how they said, they're even taking out a majority of the forces. So it's going pretty good there. Obviously we have faith in Akasaka and Kasai, but there are armed guards, I assume with actual guns for the security force, I think. So we'll see how they do against that. I don't. I mean, we probably won't see like Akasaka freaking dodging bullets or anything, but if Akasaka can get into melee range, I feel like he can definitely win. But yeah, let's see how this rescue operation goes. I assume it's gonna be successful. We'll finally see present day Satoshi, depending on what his condition is. Is like, is his brain opened up? Have they been doing stuff to him or something? I have no idea. But yeah, let's just get into this. The four rescue unit members, led by Ire, were hiding in a bush next to the clinic.
行きましょう。こちら側をフォローするカメラは故障中ですから大丈夫です。
That's lucky, dude.
こんなとこから堂々とうわ、怖いね。
敵は監視をセキュリティに依存しきっているようです。問題ないでしょう。
行きましょう。まずは壁沿いに伝い、所長室の裏へ。
はい。私が出るとき、窓は閉めませんでしたから、まだ開きっぱなしでしょう。そこから入ると、すぐ脇が裏口で、そこには監視カメラと1階保安室があり、今日は2名が常駐しているはずです。地下区画前は厳重に監視カメラで見張られていますので、必ずバレるでしょう。
地下に行く前にその1階の2人を制圧しないとね。退路確保は基本でしょ。
まずは所長室から入って、1階保安室。
They moved forward, walking against the wall, so that they'd remain in the blind spot of the security cameras. They soon reached the window of the director's office. If any village kid saw them, they'd assume they were playing around, pretending to be spies. Ire was glad that the clinic was closed on Sundays. Ire peeked into the room. It was exactly the same as how he left it. The window was open too. The four of them snuck into the room through that window. Akasaka put his ear against the door to the hallway. Then he signaled the others to let them know that there was nobody on the other side. Since the clinic was closed, the mountain dogs were the only people around. It being Sunday was really fortunate. It was very quiet in the clinic. The chorus of the cicadas was the only thing that could be heard. There was the clock on the director's desk. It was almost 11:30 a.m. Chien was surprised to find herself getting hungry, given all that was going on. Kasai and Akasaka checked over their weapons. Ire brought out a book of blueprints from the locked bookcase. The title said Construction Plan for the Ire Clinic.
ここが所長室です。
Alright, lay of the land.
出てすぐそこです。監視カメラはこの赤鉛筆がそうです。
1階保安室の制圧自体は難しくなさそうだ。問題は地下ですね。
これが地下の研究区画です。ここが入り口。図面では表向きは職員用の2階への階段になっていますが、実際は地下区画への入り口が隠されています。そして階段で地下へ。
よくもこんな大きな地下を作ったものです。地上部分よりもよっぽど広いですね。
それは 地下こそがこの診療所の真の姿である証拠です。
で、これが監督の認証カードでないと入れない扉と。認証カードが封印されて使えなくなってるなんてことは？万一認証カードが使えない場合にゲートの物理的突破は可能？
非常に厳重な扉で、証拠隠滅時にはそれを閉じてから内部に注水して封鎖する決まりになっています。
ということは
Yeah,
機密扉か。
that's actually pretty cool. How to destroy the evidence, huh?
この容積を満たす水圧に耐えるということは相当に頑丈だ。
ってことは、認証カード以外の方法では不可能ってことだね。
一般用の認証カードは個別の登録抹消が可能なはずですが、私と高野さんの認証カードは証拠用の特別カードと聞いています。登録抹消には各個に設定した8桁のパスワードが必要ですから、事実上彼らには抹消できません。
証拠を自らが不法使用することは想定していないということですね。
それでもダメな時は一回保安室の人間に開けさせましょう。
That is true. Even though we have the master key, we can always get more from the guards.
保安要員のカードなら将校の次に強力なはずです。
素直に協力してくれるとは思えませんが。
Gotta force it out of them.
協力しないんならカードと指紋認証用に指を1本排斥する
True.
までです。
そうしたくはないですね。私のカードで開くことを祈るばかりです。
地下のセキュリティルームはどれです？
認証カードで入ってすぐ脇のこの部屋です。この部屋には空調もテレビもありますから、基本的に保安の方はそこに全て詰めています。上で2人をやっつければ残りの6人がいるはずです。
Okay, so they know the exact number, huh?
6人か。一気に制圧しないと難しいね。一瞬で制圧しないとほぼ確実に警報を鳴らされる。先に警報を切断する方法は？
ちょっとわかりませんが、予備電源や予備回線があるはずです。
現実的じゃないか。セキュリティルームを制圧する方が現実的ですね。保安の連中の武装は
1階の保安は非武装ですが、1階保安室には一応銃が置かれているという話です。地下の保安は全員が拳銃を携帯しています。あとセキュリティルームにはもっと強力な連発式の銃が何丁か置かれていたはずです。
屋内での用途から考えて多分口径の短い機関拳銃のようなものでしょう。
The MP5 stuff they were shown when they were chasing Ire, probably.
長距離での命中率はひどく落ちますが、小回りが利き近距離では十分な火力を持つ危険なものです。
地下で撃ってきた連中
Yeah.
MQ5 でしたし、そいつが何丁持ってのはちょいと厄介ですね。でもここを制圧できれば地下は私たちの手に落ちる。監督、サトシ君は？
本当は動かしたくないところですが、敵の巣の中に放置はできません。サトシ君も安全なところに移しましょう。
Is his head open? I wonder what his condition is. Like, I was wondering, were they experimenting on him while he was in the basement? I assume so, right?
私の付き添いも必要です。
サトシ君はどの部屋にいるんです？
この奥の病室に監禁されています。そこは去年から彼専用の部屋になっています。
サトシ君。
The look in Xian's eyes made it clear her determination. The security guards who chased after Ire were in the security room on the first floor. They had resumed their game of poker. They knew that the mountain gods were combing the mountains, and they were well aware that the Institute continued to be in danger. But their job was to stay in that room. And besides, they were working hard on their poker game. Of course, they weren't really concentrating on the game itself. They were still both chatting about the recent car chase, and both seemed proud about what they had done. They were ordered to shoot at the tires, but they wished they had been ordered to shoot at Irei himself. They definitely would have caught him then. They talked and laughed like that. When people stopped being on edge, that left them all the more vulnerable. This was a perfect example. That was why it took only 2 seconds to suppress them.
両手を頭の上へ。
The drums, dude. You know it's starting when they hit you with the drums. The security guards were professionals. They immediately realized the guns Kasai, Akasat, and Shion were holding weren't toys. They'd already heard there was a gunfight in the basement of the Sonozaki residence. The security guards knew they weren't dealing with amateurs. They also knew they wouldn't hesitate to fire. That's why they surrendered so quickly. They had handcuffs on them already, and it was easy for Kasa and the others to restrain them. The security guards had never thought they'd be wearing the cuffs themselves. They had especially never dreamed of being locked up in a toilet. Hello? Okay. Their hands were cuffed to pipes behind them as they sat on the toilet seats. Their mouths were stuffed with hand towels and then covered up with duct tape. Shion, clearly amused, remarked on how she always wanted to do this to someone. Kasa couldn't help but laugh. Not relatable. Can't think I've ever wanted to do that to someone.
問題は地下です。監視カメラで必ず気づかれます。
そのカメラはモノクロ？画面は4分割？
確かそうだったと思います。よくある防犯カメラの画面です。
ってことは解像度は良くないですね。なら私いい手を思いつきました。
Maybe they could disguise. Actually, I don't know. Obviously, it has something to do with the disguise.
シオンさん、捕虜の虐待はあまり良くないのでは？
Yeah, they don't take their uniforms. The mountain gods weren't only locked in the bathroom, but had to go through extra humiliation. Must be hard with their hands handcuffed, get off their shirts and stuff. Radio calls continued to come in from the mountain gods who were fighting up in the mountains. The security guards listened to them intently over the speakers. From what they heard, it was obvious the mountain gods weren't doing well at all. They kept falling into traps, suffering heavy losses, all of which they had never expected. It was clear that the mountain gods were trapped, but they even started to think that they were being lured into something bigger than a simple military maneuver. The mountain gods had made a mistake. They assumed the club members went to the mountains to escape from Hinamizawa. Yeah. But they were wrong. They were simply being lured into the enemy's carefully prepared territory. The panicked voices of the mountain gods, Takano's yelling, and Okanogi's reprimands could be heard through the speaker. It certainly sounded like a war zone. Maybe we should have really brought the napalm, huh?
大鳥湾より大鳥。休憩時間は終わりだぞ。俺たちも出撃する。
Oh, Okanogi is going in himself, huh?
先のポジションを埋めるんだ。味方の損害率はすでに致命的状況だが、敵は確実に交代を重ねてすでに包囲されつつある。もう一息だ。温存した大鳥で一気に圧殺する。陣頭指揮はサンサが直接取られるそうだ。俺も出るぞ。これで決着させる。おい、隊長が出るぞ。大鳥も上がる。総力戦だ。
なんて奴らだ。ってことはすでに被害は招待規模にもなるってのか。
俺たちは何者を相手にしてるんだよ。相手はどこの特殊部隊だってんだ。
the Satoko squad. The security guards listening to the battle reports over the radio fluctuated between dismay and rejoicing. A cute chime rang suddenly. It was a warning chime that rang automatically when someone went through the entrance to the basement. When the chime rang, the guards were supposed to check the screen to see who was coming through. The one who looked at the screen needed a moment to comprehend what he was seeing. What? Eerie. Oh, they're just going in. They could see two security guards on the first floor restraining Irie and some girl. Okay, yeah. The obviously Kasai and Akasaka are the guards. Dude, if they get in without the guns raised, close combat, they can definitely win. Oh. Oh, they. Okay, yeah. He only thinks the Shion and Irie were the rescue team. Hmm? A buzzer sounded and a computer panel displayed information about the card being used to enter. Commissioned Officer Pass, Special Grade 1. Lieutenant Colonel Yosuke Irie. Password. Whose password? Match. Confirmation. Match. How strange. The security guards brought Irie down. That made sense. But why were they using the director security access card? That's a good point. I was like, why is that strange? But that's why they're using his card to get in. They're even using his fingerprint. Why are they having him do that? Wouldn't it be quicker for the guards to do that themselves? One of the guards figured it out, but it was too late. The door to the basement was open and the four newcomers forced their way inside. They ran through the security camera and were headed straight for the security room. They had them. As soon as the door opened, the security guard started firing. Akasaka realized that it had taken him a second longer to pull back. He would have been riddled with hundreds of bullets. One of the guards pushed the desk onto its side for cover. Cool. The paper cups on the desk fell to the floor, spilling coffee everywhere. They used the desk as a barricade. The two other guards started to shoot at random. As soon as the guards were shooting at the rescue unit, they couldn't counterattack. One of the guards activated the emergency alarm, and another picked up the submachine gun off the wall. The other one picked up a gas mask. It was impressive that they got their act together so quickly. A situation like this would result in a fierce gun battle, meaning that it would take quite a while for the rescue team to suppress the guards. The emergency alarm sounded in the basement reminded them that their surprise attack had failed. Oh. Well, it was a good attempt.
でも敵は全員この中、袋のネズミです。この部屋に釘付けにしているうちに、サトシ君と富武さんを救出しちゃいましょう。
The mountain gods outside would definitely hear that alarm. If they took too long, the enemy would come to block their escape route. Then they'd be trapped inside.
そうだ。確かセキュリティに侵入者対策で確か
Arius started to speak while we tried to recollect it. Shion told him that he should have remembered something like that before they came in. Before Irie remembered, a voice came over the speakers. Uh-oh. It's red.
エントランス区画にて緊急事態が発生しました。エントランス区画にて緊急事態が発生しました。問題が解決するまで研究施設内の全区画は緊急閉鎖されます。エントランス区画のスタッフはセキュリティルームに集合し、
Oh, they're kinda gassing.
保安隊員の指示に従ってください。120秒後に
Uh-oh. No, that adds a lot of pressure.
鎮圧用ガスの自動散布が行われます。繰り返します。
どうやら 内に制圧して警報を解除しないとヤバいことになりそうだな。
鎮圧用ガスって何ですか？毒ガス？
I think it's that word. If you inhale a lot of it, it's dangerous, but it's not deadly. It only takes a few seconds to take effect. There are many symptoms, but the most common one is to sneeze for about 30 minutes. Pure torture. Isn't that also called red agent? Military used to use it to secure enemy territories. They either had to run out of there immediately or take over the security room, but since the area had been sealed off, they couldn't escape. But there were armed guards in the security room, and if the rescue unit members even peeked around the corner, they'd be shot at mercilessly.
ダメだ。これでは狙って撃つなんて到底できない。
インドアの基本はグレネードか。くそ、そんなのない。
No grenados.
焦って飛び込めば蜂の巣です。どうすればいいんだ。
サトシ君は目前だというのに悔しい。
She pressed her forehead against her gun, gritting her teeth in frustration. As Kasai analyzed the situation, he stood up and spoke.
皆さん、私に任せてもらいましょう。
Oh shit. The guards in the security room were on edge too. Once the gas was flowing, everything would come to an end, but the guards knew their enemy wouldn't just sit and wait for that to happen. They'd come rushing in, regardless of the counterattack they'd face. Although the guards would still have the upper hand, it'd be a point-blank gunfight. They wouldn't come out of it unscathed. Therefore, as the deadline approached, their tension increased. The guards never even considered that the door they opened would be shut again. They fired at the door, leaving many small holes in it. After that, it all went quiet. What were they thinking? There's nowhere to hide. The gas was about to be released. Why did they close the door? For what reason did they do that? That was when a loud explosion punched a hole through the door the size of a fist. Not only that, but the wall in the security room had a similar hole. Oh. Oh yeah. Kase has his silenced, or not silent. Was it silent? I don't know. Yeah, I think it was a silent shotgun or something. A calm voice echoed from the other side of the door.
ご名答です。こいつは人間を撃つ弾じゃありません。威力は皆さんほどならすでにご存知でしょう。
The power of a slug bullet is limited to extremely close range battles, but it is also incredibly powerful. After all, it's fired from a shotgun, but it doesn't scatter. Oh, okay. Is that what a slug is? You know, I've obviously heard the term, but I didn't actually know what it does. So it doesn't scatter, but it takes like all the force of the shotgun. So yeah, it would be stronger. A shotgun is meant to fire scatter shots, but it can use to fire only one huge, incredibly powerful bullet. That's the slug. It's usually used for hunting. It's used to shoot at animals, not humans. If it was used on a human, their arms, legs would be shattered and nothing would be left of the head. It shouldn't even be called a bullet, it should be called a cannon. It would easily pierce through the door, the desk they were using as a barricade, and any guards hiding behind the desk before slamming into the wall. The guards understood very well how powerful it was. The kind of guns they had shot out many small bullets, therefore they didn't work as well through a door. But their enemies didn't care about the door at all. The weapon could easily pierce through anything. Hiding behind a desk didn't mean a thing.
あなた方を粉々にできることがご理解できたはずです。死にたくなかったら警報を切っていただきましょう。
No.
落ち着け。
I mean, if you're in the guard's position, if they can stall for like, well, must be like a minute now or something, but you know, it's literature time, so a minute can equal like 5 minutes technically. But But yeah, I don't know. Will they fold to the pressure?
もうじきガスが出る。
Yeah.
それまでの辛抱だ。
その前に皆さんが内臓をぶちまけることになるとはお考えが至りませんか。
Tasai's voice was extremely intimidating. Excuse me. Only one who truly understood the power of the shotgun could talk that way.
時間がありません。5秒でケツを取ります。5つ数えて警報が切れなければ覚悟していただきます。
どうする？ガスまでまだ60秒くらいあるぞ。
So yeah, minute.
焦るな。向こうだってビビってるんだ。飲まれるんじゃねえ。
That was when a deep voice rang out, reverberating through the pit of their stomachs.
おい、人が親切に話してるのに聞いてねえのか。
Let in the inner demon, Tasai. We know you were a legend back then. Must have been coming from the same person, but it had changed so much so quickly.
この笠井達義がてめえらを生かしてやると言ってんだ。ありがてえとは思わねえのか、ガキどもが。
There we go.
お前ら、俺を舐めてんのか？ああ？
Oh shit.
返事せんか、ガキどもが。
He's brawling, dude. A roar and an explosion sounded at the same time. The upper half of the door disappeared. Oh my god. Tasai's boomstick. Numerous lead balls bounced around the room, breaking the lights and ricocheting off the walls. Shattered glass fell onto the floor, so he switched the bullets, huh? The shotgun had turned the security room into hell. A hurricane of lead balls blew violently through the room as it shattered, scattered, and destroyed everything. The guards could only cover their heads and pray. They prayed that the lead balls wouldn't hit them and endure the falling glass. Before they had a chance to recover, Tasai jumped through what's left of the door, hit the desk aside, and stepped on one of the guards' head, yet at the others. Oh my god. He did it, boys. He turned around the situation.
何いつまで茶化ひけらかしてんだこら。
Yeah, shithead.
殺されてえか、オリサイ。てめえとは気づいてきた屍の山の高さが違うんじゃボケ。
すんません。勘弁してください。
They dropped their guns voluntarily and got on the floor with their hands on their heads. Even Xian couldn't believe what just happened. There were several of them, and all had been amply armed. Tasai had a weapon too, but it was his presence that defeated them. Even the mountain dogs couldn't equal what Tasai once had to go through. One of the guards got up in a hurry and switched the alarm off. Tasai stood there calmly, but they were only a few seconds away from the gas releasing. Couldn't hold on, huh, Phoenix? Xian and Atasake came to their senses and quickly moved into the room to help Tasai subdue the guards.
こんな真似は二度としないつもりでしたが、緊急措置でした。
Everyone has their inner beast, huh?
忘れてください。
That was the Tasai Xian knew. But in the end, Tasai hadn't killed anyone. Xian remembered Tasai telling her how terrifying shotguns were in the basement of the Sonozaki residence. That was Shotgun Tatsu, whom all the people in Shishibone were so afraid of. I like the little trivia about shotguns though. Akasaka and Tasai pulled out the guards' handcuffs and restrained them. Still have the intense music going on too. Now that the security room was under their control, Shion realized there was nothing keeping her from seeing Satoshi. She was getting anxious. Irie had shown her the map. It must be down here, she thought. Shion had already started to run.
私も行ってきます。サトシ君と富武さんを助けないと。
すみません。頼みます。
1、2、3、4、5。
One of them escaped! Ajisaka felt a chill running down his spine. Irie said there were 6 security guards. Uh-oh. Shion wasn't paying attention to anything else. She was only thinking about her reunion with Satoshi. And she still can't hear in her left ear. That's true, I almost forgot about her deaf ear. To make things worse, the security guard is waiting on the left side of Shion. Irie, do something! Shion had to regret letting her guard down just a bit too early. The Mantidons jumped out and grabbed Shion. He choked her neck with his thick arm. There's no way Shion could get out of this situation alone. Irie saw what had happened. Fortunately, their backs were turned towards him. Here was Irie's chance to attack the enemy. But today, Irie had lost a lot of confidence in himself. He felt he hadn't done anything right all day. Fighting wasn't his expertise, so there really wasn't anything he could have done, but he was disappointed in himself for not being able to help just the same. But in that moment, he was the only one who could do anything. If possible, he wanted to get Kasai or Akasaka. They were both very reliable. They could take out this man in an instant. But there's no time for that. Only in the moment was his back facing Irie. And if Irie didn't do anything, the dog was sure to take Shion hostage, creating a deadlock. Enemy backup could arrive at any moment, so being in a deadlock would mean death. Therefore, Irie couldn't depend on anyone else. He had to resolve the situation himself. He only had one chance. Once the unit member turned around, the deadlock would begin. But there wasn't even a way for Irie to knock him down in one shot. No, he had to. He must. There had to be something that only Irie could do. Irie took a mechanical pencil out of his pocket. It was probably the strongest weapon he had. Hold him in the neck. Irie stabbed the man's neck with his mechanical pencil, but it only scratched him a little. What was he thinking? The man drew his gun, pressed it to Shion's head, and created a stalemate, just as Irie predicted. Uh-oh.
ごめんなさい。私、サトシ君のことで頭がいっぱいだった。
Shion's eyes were filled with tears.
さて所長、月並みで恐縮ですが、他の侵入者ともども武装解除してもらいましょう。さっきのとんでもない音は相当でかい銃を持ち込んでますね。撃たれたらたまりませんので。
Come on, Irie. Remember Kasai from earlier. You can do it. Is Irie gonna put a Kasai impression? Oh, shit.
笑わせます。この入江機関の、そして研究区画で、この入江京介に取引などできるつもりですか
In my home turf.
これは高野さんが開発したシャーペン型の偽
Oh
装
shit.
です。
That's actually pretty smart. Make him believe he got injected with something.
薬物については説明が必要ですか
なんだと
If a regular person had said that, it wouldn't have worked. But Irie was wearing his white coat, and the basement was his territory. What he just said sounded very believable. He wanted to believe that Irie was lying, but he started to feel an itch on the back of his neck. Uh-oh.
高野さんが生み出した170番台の最高傑作です。いかなる治療手段もなく、わずか数分で錯乱、妄想、頭痛、鼻水、鼻詰まり、お通じの不通、数々の激症を引き起こし、最後には自らの爪でお尻をかき破って死んでしまいます。
Not the butt.
治療法はただ一つ。1分以内に
1 minute. Oh shit.
嘘だ、そんなのあるはずね。
すでに30秒経過ですね。そろそろ心臓を経由して全身に回り始めてくる頃です。全身のリンパ腺にかゆみは出ませんか？寝るときにいびきやおならが出ませんか？
Jian could only watch this pathetic act in silence. But for the mountain dog who worked at such a shady research center, what Irie said sounded totally believable.
わかった。降参する。早くその治療薬を打ってくれ。
はて、言葉遣いがなっていませんね。
わかりました。早く注射をしてください。
ダメですね。
Oh.
ご主人様への言葉遣いがなっています。
Oh, he's turning the guy into his maid.
一度だけ指導しましょう。この注射はお尻に注射しなくて
In the butt. Bro, you're making it so weird here.
まず四つん這いになってズボンをずらし、お尻を
Oh my god.
その際お尻は突き出すようにし、両肩はぺったり床につけるようにします。右手の親指の爪を噛みながら振り返り、そうそう。
Oh my god.
そしてあなたはご主人様、この私めにお注射を
Irie, please.
愛難するのです。
My boy.
言えませんか？嘆かわしい。そもそも古来メイドはご主人様への絶対忠誠を誓い、熱死暴行によって美徳と文化を築き上げてきたのです。そんな素晴らしい社会を作ったのに、近年の日本は
True. Bring back maids.
メイドの心を忘れていたのはガングロ、ルーズソックス、派手派手なハワイ装束。
Okay.
大和なでしこが情けない。
What, you don't like tanned maids, Irie? Come on, bro.
お肌をスレスレにお手入れして過剰な日焼けには要注意。ソックスはもちろんニーソですが、黒のストッキングも素晴らしい。いや、でもたまにはハイソックスも素敵です。そして培われるメイドの心。思えば日本はわびさびとメイドを忘れました。
Wabi sabi. I thought it said wasabi aesthetic. Wait, what's that wabi sabi, dude? Wabi sabi. Wabi sabi. Acceptance of transience and imperfection. The status is sometimes described as one appreciating the beauty that is imperfect, impermanent, and incomplete in nature. So it's like, okay, kind of understand. Dude, my guy's transcending time and space. It's his final form.
やがてはストライクゾーン春が真上とされてきたおばさんにもスポットライトが浴びせられ、いつしかそれが主流にすらなってゆく。おばさんとメイドの組み合わせはまさにトイレ用洗剤、混ぜるな危険。
This is a Teichi. This is like a high level Teichi speech right here.
それを混ぜるとなぜかメイドでなく家政婦さんになり、急にトレンディードラマからヒルドラっぽくなっちゃうのです。それはつまりメイドの絶滅。
Oh my god.
地上に降らし、地球をアステロイドベルトが覆う。それこそが予言書に記された最後の審判の日。全世界を偉大なるメイドカチューシャが覆いしとき、真のメイド世界が開かれる。そうだ、そうそう。頭が高い、ひざまずけ。
Hey, I think the 30 seconds have passed. Oh my god. This is very well. What episode was that? When Keiichi made that speech to Pitcher Man whose name I can't remember. I think it was Higurashi. The one where he starts going off on video games or whatever. Very reminiscent of that. Also, what is this CG? Why does he look so derpy? Oh my god. Made power. Oh. Okay, dude. They're also using the maid Satokos right there. So yeah, I remember it, dude. That was Irie's ultimate move, Made in Heaven. It's a great show, Irie. You should be proud of yourself. Okay. Well, that worked. There really was nobody left to stop her. Shion ran down the hallway at full speed. It was right there. There's a huge window in front of Shion that allowed her to look inside. Shion threw herself at the window. How's he doing? Satoshi was there, lying on the bed. He was sleeping with an IV connected to his arm. There were some wires attached to his forehead and chest to observe his brain waves. The waves of light displayed on the machine they connected to proved that he was at least still alive. But he might be sleeping very deeply. His face was pale and he looked like there was barely any life left in him.
入江先生、早く彼を。
Irie brought in a stretcher to load Satoshi onto. Kasai opened it up.
早くサトシ君をサトシ君を
シオンさん、彼を出す前に一つだけどうしても約束してほしいことがあります。
Irie gave Shion a condition. What does he say now? Shion angrily thought.
今から彼を担架に移しますが、決して起こそうとしてはいけません。いいですね。絶対約束してください。
He's still terminal. Or he might be. Who knows how his mental is being stuck in that room for a year. That was the first thing Shion wanted to do. She wanted to tell him personally that he was free. But Irie was telling her that she couldn't do that.
辛いことですが、
Oh.
真実だけを手短に話します。サトシ君はあの日、末期発症により脳と心に深刻なダメージを受けました。幸いなことに命に異常はありませんが、サトシ君には目に入るものの敵味方、過度の被害妄想と恐怖に取りつかれ、それから逃れるために急祖が猫を噛むように目の前にいるのが誰であろうと襲いかかります。昨年不用心なスタッフが正規手術を必要とするほどの大怪我をしました。彼はたとえあなたであっても例外としません。
Shion finally noticed it. While Satoshi was covered in a blanket in the bed, there's two belts over that blanket, holding him down onto the bed. And that he also had leather straps around his arms. He was restrained to the bed. The belts had some marks on them.
それって治るんですか？
The silence that followed was cruel. Yuri wanted to tell her that he would be cured, but he was a doctor. He knew that he shouldn't say anything irresponsible, and so that was why he couldn't say anything.
何それ何それじゃあ何サトシ君はもうって言ってくれないの私の頭を撫でてくれないのなんでなんで
Jian cried as she pounded on the glass.
いけません。彼のことを本当に大切に思うなら、どうか彼を起こさないでください。それはきっと彼が望むことでもあるのです。起こせば、そのサトシ君の姿はあなたを必ず傷つけます。そしてサトシ君もその姿をあなたに見せたいとは思わないはずです。ですから分かってください。
そんな
Xian slid down the window and hit the floor, crying uncontrollably. She scratched at the floor. The sad reunion and her anger made her claw at the tiles. If Satoshi's smile was there under the floor, Xian would scratch until all her nails were gone. But Satoshi wasn't under the floor. He was right there. He was sleeping on the bed, and he wasn't supposed to be woken up.
ですが、決して悪い話だけではないのです。微弱ですが、この1年、脳波の傾向に回復の兆しが見られるんです。人間の体は弱くありません。それは脳も同じです。脳に致命的損傷を負った人が奇跡的に回復を遂げたという報告は世界中にあります。サトシ君は帰ってこようとしています。必死に戦っています。そして私も負けない。帰ろうと戦うサトシ君をこちら側に連れ戻そうと、私は今後も研究を続けます。そして必ずサトシ君をひなみ沢に連れて帰ってみせます。
The brain is what moves people. But the brain is only a part of a body. If something happens to the brain, the person will end up changing. That change hurts the person himself as well as the people around him. And hurting others hurts that person even more. Yuri recalled his parents. The abnormal change in his father. His mother was not able to understand that it was caused by a brain disorder. That was enough. That was sad enough. That was the reason why Irie became a neurologist. Right now there's a young boy before him, and a young girl. Before him was a fragment of the sadness from that day. A fragment of that day's regret. After his father's death, Irie learned that he was misunderstood, and that it was due to a brain disorder. But it was all too late by then. He regretted not getting into the study of brains 5 years earlier, but it was too late. But now he had studied and experienced so much. He had achieved things and he had confidence. But he still had regrets about that day. Irie holds his fist tightly and spoke without hiding his tears.
絶対です。命を懸けてもいい。私は絶対にサトシ君をひなみ沢へ連れ帰ります。この入江京介が絶対というのです。そしてサトシ君も帰ってこようとしている。互いが手を伸ばし合って届かぬわけがない。だからシオンさん、私を信じてその日まで待ってください。絶対この入江京介が彼を連れ帰ります。
Ire vowed this from the bottom of his heart, and he realized something. Ire realized that everything he had done was in preparation for this day. The two people in front of him weren't his parents, but he was going to rid himself of his regrets and devote himself to that promise.
本当に本当ですね。サトシ君、帰ってくるんですね。本当に。
絶対です。私の人生のすべてを捧げてでも彼をひなみ沢へ連れ帰ります。だからシオンさん、その日を信じて私と待ちましょう。そしてきっと私たちで彼を迎えてあげましょう。その日まで待てますか？この悲しい事実をさとこちゃんに内緒にできますか？
はい。
Oh,
サトシ君、
okay.
帰ってくるなら
This is probably a good thing to keep it secret in the long run, as long as Yuri can cure him, that
何
is.
でも我慢します。
あれを見てください。
It's the big bear! The legendary big bear, dude. Is it worth, what was it, like $100? No, it was like $1,000, right? It is cute though. There's something in the corner of that dark room. It was the giant teddy bear that Satoshi had bought that day.
彼がさとこちゃんの誕生日のために一緒あれをサトシ君がさとこちゃんに渡さないでこの世を去るなんて考えられますか？考えられないでしょう。サトシ君は必ずあのぬいぐるみと一緒にあなたとさとこちゃんのところへ帰ってきます。どうかその日まで我慢をしてください。
お見舞いに来てもいいですか？
もちろんです。
彼の脇に座ったり本を読んであげたりしてもいいですか？それから
いいですよ。きっと彼も喜ぶでしょう。
Shion started to cry again. Akasato came in with Tomotachi, but he couldn't say anything to her. Oh, hey Tomotachi. Glad we rescued you, dude.
無事でよかったです。あなたに番犬を呼んでもらえれば全ては解決できます。
実はそうもいかないのです。さっきの保安室の銃撃戦で無線装置が壊れたようなのです。山犬は非常時対応で
Oh, that's true. I was gonna say, just call them outside then, but it's over, dude. Yeah, so you have to leave. Like, how far? That's into Okonomiya?
となれば車で強行突破するしかないでしょう。ミオンさんたちもよく時間を稼いでくれています。しかし籠城ですからやがては追い詰められるでしょう。一刻も早く富武さんを村の外へ脱出させ番犬を呼び寄せる必要があります。
困った問題が一つ。彼らが非常時対応で電話線を遮断しているなら、同じ対応で町へ通じる街道を封鎖することになっている。
You know, there's a blockade unit, as Otonogi put it.
車両突破を防ぐため、彼らには
Oh shit.
対戦車榴弾砲が一つ与えられているはず。
Freaking rocket launcher?
RPG-7 ですか。戦車を想定していないでしょうから弾頭は榴弾でしょうが、直撃しなくても車がひっくり返るかもしれません。相当厄介な相手です。
しかし街道を車で突破しなかったら 無駄な時間がかかりすぎる。迂回などしていたら日が暮れます。みんなもよく戦ってくれていると思うが、暮れるまで持ちこたえられるとは思えません。急がないと危険です。
もたもたしてる暇はないです。何が何でも富武のおじさまを沖宮に大至急。監督はサトシ君と安全な場所へ。とにかく大至急出ましょう。ここに敵が殺到するのも時間の問題です。
Shian's eyes were swollen from crying, but she had calmed down. Toshi's safety depended on their victory. They had to win for his sake too. Though this is a very sad situation, Satoshi was alive, and he would be back someday. Shian understood that, but yet more tears poured from her eyes. Sis, everyone, thank you. You've succeeded over here. Flash to them. Oh, ain't rare angry Takano without her cap and cape. Yo, okay, we're gonna have to end it there. That was a great scene with Shion and Satoshi. Didn't comment too much because I was, taking it in. It was also hitting me in the feels a bit, so avoid any unnecessary sadness from talking. But yeah, what good stuff. We got to see both Kasai's and Irie's full power. Another successful thing, though, they did end up destroying the radio communication, which makes it more complicated, but basically, it's all really in the hands of the rescue squad to get to Okinomiya. Even though we're doing super well in the Satoto Hills, I'm sure eventually it's gonna get kind of dangerous once it start to close in, right? So we can only really hope for the Bloodhounds, and also Otanogi is going in, so we'll see how he does too. Also, it's like Takano's going in directly herself. That should be fun. But yeah, thank you guys for watching as always. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode, and next time we will see what's going on back in the distraction or decoy squad. But yeah, thanks for watching. Hopefully you had a fun time. See you next time. Bye!